Today we're going to be talking all about the power slide, front side and back side, because this trick can really help you with so many other tricks. I don't even know if you consider it a trick. It's almost like just a maneuver. It helps you get board control. It's going to help with your style, so many different things. We're going to talk about the tricks you can use within power slides after we talk about some basic power slides, just how to do it on flat. And we're going to be doing a little bit of a skate park tour today. I got some homies joining me. We're starting here at Bishop Park in Oceanside, then we're going to check out some other parks. But yeah, I really wanted to get into power slides because I think this technique can really help you with so many different tricks and ultimately gives you a lot more board control, gives you more confidence, and your style is going to work better. I know I kind of feel like I'm repeating myself right now, but that's sort of what we're going to be diving into today, covering a couple different topics surrounding the power slide. Going to be using my live skateboard today. Been having a lot of fun on this big boy. Let's get warmed up here at Bishop Park. Now that we're nice and warmed up, maybe too warmed up, it's getting hot already, I want to go over some of the fundamentals of power slides on flat, like front side and back side, and then we'll go into some of the basics and the advantages that you can get with transition and tons of different obstacles. Now when it comes to power slides, it's really all about kicking out your back foot, whether it be front side or back side. So if I'm kicking out front side, I want my heel back here, pushing my board out. And then same with back side, I want my toes on the edge of my board, kicking out back side. So right here, I want to just push it, having that little back spot of my board, and I'm just kicking it out. And with my front foot, I'm almost just keeping it sturdy, just kick it out. And then same thing with backside. You want to get your toes right in that little spot of your board, and just kick it out. You can do a 180, but that's basically how you start with power slides on flat. Now the other thing with flat ground power slides is you really got to think about it in your hips. So as much as I'm kicking that out, I'm also doing the same thing with my hips. I'm like shooting my hips out both ways. So as much as my foot placement is important in kicking that out, I'm also using my hips to push into it like a dance move, almost like you're bowling and you want to slide out backside and front side. Now when it comes to the transition, I think the easiest one is just going up backside and you kind of stall and you use that same technique and you just fall down and then churn. This is just going to get you up on the wall, backside kick turn, fall down. That's a really fun one just to get used to the motions, and then you could take it into a backsmith. There's so many different things. You're still in the real early phases of learning power slides, using a bank or a hip like something behind me is really cool because you can kind of fall into it, so you don't have to go fast and like push it out so much. You're kind of falling in and you're still pushing it, but there's less resistance and it's not as scary for falling down. Essentially you kind of fall into the bank. So that's a good example for a way to just figure out this technique if you're uncomfortable with doing it on flat. of this spot in years. It's called Perfect Ditch, right next to the skate park, because it's pretty damn perfect. Honestly, it's got transition at the bottom, which is really nice, but then it's banked out, and the top has a nice waxed up area for tail slides. Definitely power slide on this thing. Do manuals, a lot of options. We're definitely going to get into some more ways where you can utilize power slides in your skating with transitions specifically, but we're at the next spot, the DIY spot some of the creatures dudes built. It's really gnarly, but I'm going to try to get a couple cliffs, maybe get a couple rips, check out what the boys can do, and then we're definitely going to dive more into it later on. I'll explain why power slides matter so much for all aspects of skateboarding.
God damn it, man. Got you. Yeah, dude.
We ended up checking out a few more skate spots, some really gnarly spots, a couple ditches, and I got a little sidetracked on the mission of power slides. So I'm back at the skate park today to explain what you can really do with power slides and just kind of explain a little more kind of the techniques and strategies and why I think power slides can actually probably be one of the most important tricks that you can learn for street skating or transition. Another way that I'm going to kind of explain this is I'm actually going to explain a couple different tricks and how I utilize the power slide, so then you can sort of understand what I'm saying about like the power of power slides essentially. So one trick that I see a lot of beginners do really early on is the front side grind revert, and all of that is a giant power slide. Essentially you're just going up, you're grinding, and then you keep churning all the way out. There's no way you can learn that trick without learning power slides. Like I was saying earlier, going up backside kick turn and just having your heels on the edge and sliding down the transition, that's one of the early ways to figure it out, how to power slide on it. But you also want to figure out how to do it front side, and what that means is you're kind of like doing a 360 almost. Like as you're going up, you have your heels on the back and you're pushing up the transition. I did a few examples where I was using my heels and pushing up the transition and went into a grind. And the cool part about that is I actually didn't have to worry about the lip and getting it into it. I was just kind of sliding into it, and then it was already locked and loaded to go back down. Another way you can really use this technique that's really helpful is like grinding up and then keep turning your shoulders and keep power sliding. It's a front side grind revert, but I see a lot of beginners learn this trick really early on, and I think it's a good trick to learn because you just learn how to really turn those shoulders and keep turning them. Use that to your advantage. Another trick that's really good with power slides or utilizing power slides is the pivot fakie. Over time, you don't really want to power slide out of this, but it is one of those tricks where you want to go up and you have that pivot motion. So to come back down, no matter what, you kind of have to do a little power slide on your heel side and then scoop back in. So that's another trick, like 5-0 fakie, pivot fakie, anything where you're going to fakie. A power slide is going to be super helpful as far as from a grind. Like a blunt fakie, for example, there's not much power slide to that. Even though if you know that technique, it's going to help you. Even like say you get down and you still have your wheels up here, it's going to help you kind of slide out. So the point in this video that I'm really trying to make is that the power slide really does come with every trick. Another one is like backside tail slides, for example. When I'm scooping into that backside tail slide, I'm essentially power sliding underneath here. I have my wheels down here and I'm sliding into the transition. So that's another trick that you can really use for that. And another one's really fun is set slides. Like almost, I feel like every transition trick you're using power slide at some point or another, whether you're coming into it or coming out of it. And it also just allows you to have less hang up time. There's less time for air. So sliding into tricks for me actually feels a lot safer a lot of times. Like I like to slide in to back Smith stalls, for example, because I can just scoot that back truck into motion and then kind of fall out versus having to like go all the way up and then sit it in. So power sliding into transition tricks is super cool. Set slide is another one. So basically what that is you go up and you grab the coping and you're kind of power sliding as you grab the coping and you're swinging your board back up. So a lot of this set slide motion, a lot of the set slide trick has a lot to do with being able to power slide and then using your hands as the pendulum to get yourself back up onto the wall and push yourself back down. So you're kind of just pushing it out, power slide, and then pushing back up and then pushing down. So power slides can work in like so many different ways that I think really is something that's like under thought about. It's like really not considered too much, especially when you're early on transition skating. Like if you're a beginner or even if you're an expert, like you know how good power slides are, or you don't know and you need to learn because it's such a good advantage. Like there's going to be so many tricks where you're going to be able to get away with more. You're going to feel more confident coming out of them and getting into it if you can power slide, especially on big transition as well. Ultimately, what you want to do with these power slides, and the point that I'm trying to get at, is like try it different ways. Like go up front side and have your toes slide down that way. Like go up back side, have your heels, or go up the other way, backside and alley-oop and have your toes on this way. Like the point overall is just to like understand that the power slides really can twist you around and be a really good way to have control of your board on transition. Toe side, heel side. Toe side right here, heel side. Most of my weight on my hands. Toes, heels. All right, that's it for power slides in this video. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're not already.